The power of railwayism, where tension ends and excitement begins, enriching lives through selfless service. It is estimated that the UK rail network carries in excess of 750 million passengers each year, and the staff have to deal with all sorts: the good, the bad, the ugly, and sometimes even the deadly. The expression "customer is always right" was popularized by Harry Gordon Selfridge. Others too have said the same thing in a different way. Hotelier Cesar Ritz said that the customer is never wrong. In Germany, they say the customer is king, while in Japan, the customer is God. So let's see, why was it coined? They cite 4 reasons. First, the customer makes the business. Second, the backlash from customers can be devastating. Third, it's good business ethics. And fourth, it sets a standard of customer service excellence. However, very early people realized that the customer is always right is rather a deterministic statement. For customers can be dishonest, have unrealistic expectations, and/or try to misuse a product or service provided. The reality is that the customer is not literally always right. There will be cases where the customer is overstepping personal boundaries, abusing employees, abusing other customers, or trying to reduce the staff's morale. Experts have given some tips to deal with difficult customers. Have the right mental attitude. Develop a thick skin. Hear the customer out and empathize with them. Be mindful of your verbal and non-verbal cues. Be discreet. Communicate what you can and can't do about their situation. Act quickly. Compensate for their discomfort if necessary. Make a judgment call. Someone who's being unfair to be tolerated or not. And lastly, practice diffusing anger. When implemented correctly, the customer is always right is as relevant as ever. But first steps first, we have to identify who's our ideal customer. And let's see what Marcus has to say about it. Good morning, Marcus.
Morning, Sanjay.
Tell us, is the customer always right?
General rule is, yes, the customer is always right. Sometimes we may know better, but it's no point in telling them that. There are occasions when safety gets involved, or whether it's a monetary aspect, then you have to tell the customer the truth.
So give us some examples, Marcus.
So from a safety side, some people think it's perfectly okay to ride their bike or their scooter on the platform. It's extremely dangerous, and unfortunately you have to step in and tell them so. We get quite a few customers that come up here and say, my mate said the best way of getting a ticket to so-and-so is to buy one from there and one from there. And 9 out of 10 times it costs them more. So you have to tell them that actually the correct procedure is to buy the ticket from A to B.
Marcus, what message would you give to everyone?
About customer service, Sanjay?
Yes.
Yeah. Customer service is the most important thing we do to make people feel comfortable about travelling on C2C.
Marcus, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.
And let's see what Nigel has to say about it. Good morning, Nigel.
Good morning, Sanjay.
Tell us, Is the customer always right?
Well, that's $1 million question. The customer is right when they're asking us for assistance or we're helping them to travel, but in times of disruption or when the customer is being abusive to us or the passengers, then the passenger is definitely wrong. And it's up to us to correct their behaviour and protect the other passengers from that passenger. So the passenger is not always right.
Nigel, give us some more situations when the customer is not always right.
During a disruption, when the customer is being abusive to us or to other passengers by swearing and doing such things, then the customer is definitely in the wrong and needs to be corrected by us or someone else if it's safe to do so.
What message would you give to everyone?
I'll give to us. We should always respect the passengers and help them as much as we can, but when they are wrong, it's up to us to correct it and tell them that they're wrong, or make sure the other passengers are safe. That's the main thing.
Nigel, thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
And let's see what Stan has to say about it. Good morning, Stan.
Morning, Sanjay.
Tell us, is the customer always right?
From a business point of view, customer's always right. And from a realistic point of view, customer's not always right.
So tell us the situations when the customer is not right.
Situation is, for example, we'll get a disruption, and as a company we try our best to rectify the situation and recover the service, and the customer's not happy with that. Customer says, well, your service is rubbish, it's no good, it's no good. If there is a disruption, then basically we can do all we can just to get the problem solved so we can get the service up and running so we can give the customer satisfaction for money. But basically, we're not magicians, we can't change everything with a magic wand, so therefore we can only do what we can do in order to appease that customer.
So what do we do about it?
What do we do about it? The best we can. We empathise with the customer. We say, look, I'm sorry for the situation, but we're doing our best to rectify it. I'm sorry you're not happy with the product. We can get you something that's better, or we can do our best to rectify and improve what we offer you. We can offer you alternative route, we can offer you alternative product or whatever, but we can do our best to emphasise and appease the customer.
Stan, what message would you give to everyone?
To everybody, treat everybody like we like to be treated ourselves.
Stan, as always, a pleasure. Thank you
Always.
very much.
Cheers, Sanjay.
And let's see, who do we have next? And he's none other than Pastor Dennis. Good evening, Pastor Dennis.
Very good evening to you. How are you?
Tell us, is the customer always right?
The customers can never be always right.
Why?
Because, different training from different houses and different families, different backgrounds. So the customers cannot be always right. They can never be always right.
Give us some examples.
Well, somebody may, come to your shop, pick something, just put some in their pockets, and if you tell them, you can't put the items in your pocket, they will challenge you, and some will politely, oh, I'm sorry, they will take it out and apologize. some will fill a basket and then get out. If you ask them the reason why you're getting out with the items, they're going to tell you, I haven't gone out from your shop. So I have a phone call and I'm going to respond it before, I get back to you.
What message would you give to everyone, Pastor Dennis?
No, we know that nowadays is a very difficult moment, to live. So what I'm going to advise everyone to be, calm, because all days cannot be equal. There can be difficult times and, beautiful times. So whatever comes in our lives, we have to take it as it comes. So we have to believe in God and everything will be okay. So everybody should relax because God is alive. Amen.
Pastor, it's been a pleasure once again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My best friend, you are welcome.
And let's see what Tom has to say about it. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Sanjay.
Tell us, is the customer always right?
It's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? I think we've always been conditioned to believe the customer is always right, but in reality, as a customer myself, as part of a service provider industry, that's not really true, is it? At the end of the day, everybody's responsible for their own actions. So if I, as a customer, make a mistake and I expect somebody to rectify that mistake, they're not always going to be able to do that. So there's always a bit of give and take when it comes to that question. So no, not really, no.
What?
Nobody's really right.
What situations can you give as an example?
So if somebody is travelling on the railway and they buy the wrong ticket, now that's not my fault that they've done that. So, but I or one of my colleagues has the means to rectify that situation. But there are some instances where, when I was working at Barking, where you get people coming to you asking you, to go to far-flung places in England that I've never heard of, that I don't know where their connection is. So, so when it comes to that, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to take responsibility for your own actions. You can't just walk out of your door and expect everybody else to help you to get to where you want to go to. And if I'm going to somewhere like Scotland, then I have to do some degree of planning. So that's what I mean about personal responsibility. You can't just expect everybody to help you because not everybody can, and it's unfair to place that responsibility on everyone else. So yeah, personal responsibility as well as people helping you.
What message would you give to everyone, Tom?
I say when it comes to that question of being the customer being he's always right, they're not at the end of the day. That's just the reality. You have to take precautions, do some planning and everything that you want to do, take responsibility. So as long as you do that and you don't rely on everyone else, then you'll be fine,
Tom, as always, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanjay.